Disruptors and curious minds, welcome to another fun episode of Thinking on Paper. My name is Jeremy Gilbertson. I'm a builder and futurist at the intersection of music, tech, and story. With me, as always, across the pond, Mark Fielding, a brilliant storyteller, writer, technical writer, lore developer, father, whatever. What else you got?
At the intersection of tech and culture as well. Yeah.
There, we're living it. We're living right in the middle of it all. It's amazing. Mark, how are you doing today, man?
I do like it when I join and there's one comment already and it says iconic. I'm sure that he must be speaking about our guest or not us.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Well, thanks, Alvaro.
Either that or my hat. One of the two. Yeah.
Your last hat's iconic. The help local musicians. I'm great. Yeah, I'm all of those things. And I can't really add to that. So let's just get into this. Just before we came on air, I was educating Jeremy about a film called Human Traffic from the UK from the 1990s about the house scene in the UK at the end of the 90s. It our guest today reminded me very much of this film. It's an iconic film, and if you've seen it in the chat, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, check it out. Human Traffic. I'm sure that our guest Dean Wilson has seen it. I'll let you introduce him though, Jeremy, because he's a friend of yours.
Yeah, amazing. Well, yeah, absolutely. And that film is on my list. I haven't seen it, but I'm definitely going to dive in. Thanks for the rec as always, Mark. Quick hello and shout out to our amazing sponsor, Ripple, with a WRIPPLE, marketing's on-demand talent platform. These guys are great. They allow you to flex and bring in amazing marketing and technology talent to help you with projects from a freelance perspective, but also from a full headcount hiring perspective. Their platform's great. Mark and I are actually on it. So if you need our superpowers, Ripple.com, we're on there. But these guys work with big brands, Delta, AT&T, Equifax. So they got a lot of great things going on. Dixie's usually floating around in the chat. So thanks again to them.
I just add to that I did my onboarding. I did my onboarding with them last week, 45 minutes with a lovely lady called Lee, and very smooth, very professional. Great.
Amazing. Great resource for the solopreneurs, right, Mark?
Exactly.
Amazing.
We need all the resources we can get.
100%. Well, without further ado, let's talk about our guest today. So I met Dean maybe a couple of years ago, right when this whole Web3 thing was really spinning up, and I was knee deep and headfirst in it, being the tech and music guy that I am. And I was writing a piece for Variety. They wanted to kind of understand what was happening, where things were going. And knowing that Dean was someone who had been doing a lot of this stuff, not talking about it, but actually doing it and building it. And he was involved in a DAO and a couple of other platforms, and in principle, doing what this technology promises to be able to do, doing it early on, even before people knew what Web3 was, to kind of reinvent this relationship between artist and fan. So among other things, I could go on and on. We'll let Dean give a little bit of background on himself too, but Dean Wilson, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Great to be here. Thanks, Jeremy. Always love our chats. Mark, great to meet you and get introduced. Yes, Human Traffic, great movie. You have to watch it. The soundtrack is just epic. So many CJ Bolan, Primal Scream, some of the greatest trance records to ever come out of the late 90s. Really set the tone to, Train Spotting and other great movies that you should watch that have an amazing soundtrack. Carl Cox has got tracks in there, but, I think it was, great movie. Just go and watch it.
Yeah, iconic. Orbital, Belfast.
Orbital, Belfast. Oh, yeah, it's classic.
Yeah.
Amazing. So Dean, give us a little bit of background. I mean, we know you've worked with Joel for years, business partner, manager, among many other artists. You're involved with companies like your company 720. You're also involved with companies like Pixelinks and ModaDAO and a few others. Give us just a touch of background as we move into this music tech world. Maybe give us a couple of nuggets from the history.
Well, started really selling vinyl out the back of a van in East London. worked out of a place called the Truman Brewery on Brick Lane, very famous lane that has great curry shops and bagel shops. And that was kind of the explosion of UK garage in kind of like the late 90s, early 2000s. And the distribution company I worked with was Essential Direct. And we kind of became the biggest garage distributor with a girl out of the UK called Sarah Lockhart, who basically built Rinse FM from the ground on up from a pirate radio station. She's now married to DJ Zinc. And I would then have a route all the way down through Croydon for people who understand what I'm talking about in England. And my last stop was a shop called Big Apple Records. And above that was a studio. And in that studio was Arthur Smith. And Arthur Smith has had many pseudonyms over the years: Magnetic Man, Artwork, phenomenal producer, did DYNK, 187 Lockdown. And also our production outfit was called D&D. And we had a huge #1 with a track by Daniel Bedingfield, Gotta Get Through This, which we wrote with him. And it was a 3-week number. It was a 3-week #1. And it kind of then exploded my vision into, okay, what do I do post vinyl? And you could see the end of vinyl coming. People were starting to talk about CDs and these machines that you could put CDs into and go out and, at the time there was this little square box, the first ever CDJ, and people would take them out in their record bags with them, and then you'd try CDs out, and you're like, oh, I could see this is coming to an end pretty quickly. And then kind of because of what we were doing, we were helping people out anyway. Danny Harrison, Julian Jonah, guys who were residents of Ministry of Sound, and we were kind of helping them doing some licensing deals. And the compilation market was massive back then, with all the DJ mix CDs. So that became the first step in the management, and then learning about the rest very quickly. First of all, we had a partnership with a guy who's now dead, rest his soul, Ian Wright at Reverb XL, who had a very contained unit of publishing, management, label, and we learned a lot there, how to do it not the right way, and things that we didn't want to do. And then we had a couple of iterations of different people until, one day I'd met Mark Gillespie, who was the talent booker at God's Kitchen in Birmingham, huge, one of the big super clubs in the UK. And he said, I'll do some producing. We were putting some of their records out and his mates. And one day he rings me and he said, oh, I found this kid on MySpace called Adam Wiles. His name's Calvin Harris. He was like, I don't want to keep doing this. Do you want to co-manage it while I work my way out of doing what I'm doing? And that was the start of the explosion of the first company, which was 360. And, that had Deadmau5, Chris Lake, Nero, Feed Me, Calvin Harris, at some point the Swedish House Mafia. I mean, we had pretty much a big chunk of the top 20 electronic acts DJs in the world. We then realized that trying to break America was nearly impossible. No matter how many times we got on planes, and trying to break Calvin in America, even though he'd had 2 or 3 #1s at the time, was phenomenally difficult. And then, we decided we needed to find a US partner. Then that became Jay Brown and Jay-Z at Rock Nation. And then the next 2-3 year ride was, spectacular rise to the moon with Breaking Calvin and the Rihanna record, and boom, Calvin was a worldwide superstar then, and the rest was a crazy ride for the next few years.
Couple quick follow-up questions on that, and thanks for kind of casting the first run there. The Swedish House Mafia, the stuff you did in that world. Did you ever run across someone named Amy Thompson, who was at Hypnosis, who now has her own thing? Do you know Amy?
I do very well. Yeah, there's some stories there we'll save for another day.
10-4. No, I've been, just from a rights management perspective, she's been doing some interesting things on the front end of that. But
look, she's a smart lady, no 2 ways about it. On the management side of the fence, we always kind of butted heads, but she's a smart girl, you know, and I think what she was trying to do at Hypnosis, and I think she's left there and she's got a partner in a software business now, right? That's doing rights management.
I think so. I haven't heard much about it lately, but
yeah, from what I can see or what people have shown me or talked to me about, it looks, you know, it looks really smart. So, yeah, no, I know Naomi, I don't know, 25 years.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I just want to say how happy I am that I get all of Dean's geographical references this time. And like normal, when it's you and your American friends, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like I first went clubbing at Crunch in Birmingham. I'm from the Midlands, and so I went first, and then God's Kitchen went there. But
Wobble.
yeah, Crunch was my first.
Did you go to Wobble?
You went to Wobble, yeah. Like it was very much kind of one of the only places we could get into back then. We were like pretty young and not very well dressed. So yeah, it was cool.
Well, our LD, our VJ right now is still fully Birmingham, but bounces backwards and forwards from Vegas to Birmingham. So I'm still surrounded by the Brummies.
Awesome. How did, like, going back to like world fame and the circles that you were moving in, and how did the emerging tech conversation, I mean, how did you find time to stay focused when there was so much going on around you and think about the future and think about the tech that you were, I'm not sure what year this was, but there's probably a lot of evolution going on at the time. Like, yeah, how did you stay on track? How did you decide what to focus on? And how did you build a trustful team around that?
Well, I think I fundamentally am not a tech guy, right? I'm a big picture guy. I try and look at everything holistically from the top down, and then see what opportunities and what do we need to do that. You know, my business partner and main client is obviously Deadmau5, and there's the tech guy at a very deep level. Like, you know, his best friend is Steve Duda. Steve built Serum. Steve brother basically invented the internet and built the GigaSwitch at MIT and left with his professor and sold it to Cisco Systems. So, you know, when you're in those circles, you I mean, a lot of the time I have no idea what they're talking about and some of the language that they obviously use, but you get to understand. And then the periphery of the people that they're friends, you just become friends with those people. Like, you know, Whitey Cracker, who's does a bit of rapping on some of Joel's records, but is fundamentally a white hat hacker, and now works at, I think, head of security, internet security at Ring. And it's just phenomenally smart guys who love being in our world. And then I can pick brains, you know, and ask sometimes dumb questions, but, you know, and then it's like, okay, you can see opportunities here. Okay, what do we need to do to be able to build those or find people to work with? You know, and a lot of it has been trial and error, and there's been a ton of error. You know, you can't, you guys know how many thousands of things each year that are tried to be built that never make it to market or fail. They don't do anything. We only hear of the success stories. We only hear of the big IPOs and the multi-billion-dollar businesses. You know, I don't know, it's hard to even put, 10, 15 things a week get pitched to me. A lot of it, I'm like, fuck, that's really good. Really great idea. You meet the people, you get under the hood, you go, these guys have got no chance. You know, and that's, you know, I feel for those people, because
what's not, sorry to jump on either. What's the missing link? But when you see someone, the idea is great and they seem like good people, like what is the piece that's like, yeah, they're probably not going to do it?
It's probably the person that can think about how to market it, how to get to the right people, that's got the right connections to the right managers, the right labels, the right publishers, the right artists. How can you onboard artists? How can you get artists in as partners? You know, I've been very lucky that Joel, as you know, he's a lot of the time risk averse to us trying to do things, trying things out, working with people that, okay, I feel like this is the right person and let's give it a go. You know, we've been trying to do a lot of things for 10, 12 years. You know, when the iPhone explosion happened and apps happened, you know, and then we've had, I don't know, 3, 4 different iterations of a Deadmau5 app. And then and every step creates another 20 ideas. And then you go, well, yeah, but I want it to do that. Yeah, tech's not there yet. And now I want it to do that. And Joel is always at the bleeding edge of where that video in video, low latency video, high quality this, that, and that. He's at the right at the top end of it, and then gets, you know, understandably gets frustrated when you come all the way back down and people are like, oh, we needed to be able to deploy that. We can't deploy that. And you're like, yeah, but I want that. It exists. I'll never forget going to Oculus, and you do the Oculus demo up when Facebook brought it, and you walk, and you was like, oh my fucker, this is amazing. Okay, how much did this cost to make? Yeah, this cost probably 5 million. Okay, and how long before it's this good to everybody that can buy a headset? Yeah, 5 to 10 years. He took the headset off and he goes, yeah, we'll see you in 5 to 10 years then, because you can't show me something that I can't now unsee that. So now we got to dumb it all the way down to this to start. And, you know, that's hard because you've seen the future and now you can't have the future. You've got to, because, you know, this and everything else that existed then was either stupidly expensive or everyday use. It just wasn't there. But that's why I think, you know, full circle to where we are today, you know, this is incredible now. Headsets are still headsets. I have a whole nother theory on that. But I think, you know, like I said on our pre-chat, is what excites me is the underlying technology and computing power and the speed of the internet will allow us to do and then fill in gap, right?
So
because
what would you like to do? I mean,
what would I like to do? That's a great question. I think fundamentally is Discord has shown us a vision of the future where we can connect with our fans in real time without a paywall. And our Discord, which is MouseCord, MAU5CORD, is phenomenally noisy. I mean, it stresses me out going in there because it's just, but we have 5 incredible moderators that are the super fans, and they talk to the label, they talk to the merch, they talk to the tour, and we drop in the information, and then they help moderate the chats. You know, Joel go in there from time to time. He's very well written, Joel. You know, and he's I love reading when Joel writes because it's, you know, it's very smart. He'll either be on Reddit or he'll go in Discord where there's no limit to what he can get out of his head onto a document or a page, and he you know, he's very good at explaining it in a written format so people can understand it without him being on a screen trying to verbalize it, which he's also very good at because, as you know, everyone knows that, you know, he's been streaming before people really knew what streaming was, before Twitch existed. And he's used every single iteration of platform. You know, we have a partnership with Stream Voodoo, with Marcelo and Richard. Richard's a, you know, genius computer scientist, PhD, and he basically built the back-end engine at Justin TV, which turned into Twitch. You know, and I remember being shown it, and I said to Joe, you have to, you know, I have to vet everything before I try and drag Joel into a meeting. And I was like, no, they've done this. And he went, no, they haven't. It doesn't exist. And I'm like, dude, I've just seen it. He's like, no way. I'm like, okay, just give me 5 minutes. You know, 2 hours later, they're down so far down the rabbit hole. And he's like, holy fuck, you guys have done 4K, nearly zero latency audio and video. This is incredible. So, you know, we've been working with them for a good couple of years, helping them and develop their you should have Marcelo on at some point because, you know, him and Richard can go super deep down on that front. But, you know, it's just, I think it's going back to the question, that's really it. We all know at some point Discord is going to get bought. Microsoft nearly bought it for $4 billion, right? And anybody that spends billions of dollars to buy something has got to get their money back somehow. The only way that tech, and I get this, right, is, well, I bought this for $4 billion. Now I've got to charge some people to be able to make this profitable or get my money back that I've invested into this platform. The data, obviously, that's in Discord is worth a fortune, right? But as soon as it gets bought, you know you're going to be charged for this, and this, and then here we are back to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're back to being walled out directly to our fan base. So the answer to your question is what we've been trying to build, and have had few iterations of it, work with a few companies there. It hasn't worked. Is a version of OnlyFans meets Discord. That is, you know, the back end of OnlyFans, and I'm talking, you know, we know what the stigma is with OnlyFans, but it's a beautiful piece of tech. The back end is amazing. The usability is fantastic. It's a monster of a business, and we tried so hard to get them to white label it so we could help them, can give us the white label and let us take it to the music business. And they earn so much money that they're not interested. They're going to go public. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. They're like, we don't need that distraction. Fair enough. So that's what we're trying to build right now. It's called AMP, AMP''D. It's with Jerry Campbell, who you have to have on this. And, you know, you guys will love Jerry's story. Jerry has been building the internet since 1992. He built AOL Search. He built Reuters digital platform. He's, you know, phenomenally well connected, but a super lovely guy. And he's been helping us build that. And we're probably about 2 weeks away from launching that in a test environment, which is, and if you look at it, it's a form of Instagram, Discord, and then OnlyFans, in a really simplistic, nice screen where you can have a free version, and then behind it is a la carte pick what you want to put behind the superfan subscription model wall. And that's what's been important to me and Joel. And we've been buying our rights back and getting our rights back for the last 10 years with an ultimate vision of Joel would always love at some point to take everything off every other platform and say, it's only here now, guys. You can download the WAV, you can get the stems, you can stream it. I'll be in there chatting. I'll be in there doing video streams. This is my home. And if this is where the super fan want to live. And I think he said it on a Yahoo. We did a Yahoo finance interview in the middle of trying to do music NFTs. And he said something that has stuck with me since. And he said, I have a responsibility now at this point in my career to show everybody else that there is a different way to be able to connect with your fans and then help build things, help to market and support new ways to do things. And it's stuck with me ever since. And I'm like, and that's my responsibility too, for being in the business, 30 years. And, because we're not a massive pop act doing billions of streams, because where the current business is, the 1% of the 1% are richer than they've ever been. And I mean in music, not just in Wall Street, because the whole DSP thing is set up to really drive that business and the majors own huge swathes of equity in those in Spotify being the biggest. And for the first time in my life, we have no transparency back down to us. I can't tell you sitting here today what I'm earning per stream today, or what I earned yesterday, or what I'm going to earn tomorrow. With digital downloads, I could say, oh, yesterday we did 10,000 downloads. I knew exactly what it was. It was $1.99 minus your cut We know we made ecstasy with vinyl, with CD, with tapes. I knew on a daily basis from reports that I got how many we sold, and then I could equate that too. Well, you know, still not many people know that you don't get paid per stream on DSPs. And they're like, what? I was like, no. Well, how do they work it out? I went, how do they work it out?
How do they work it out, Dean?
Right, I can't answer that question. And it's a fugazi, you know. It's, you know,
well, a lot of it too is like under contractual obligation or NDA. They basically say, hey, we've got NDAs with the labels, so we can't push that information out. But we all kind of know that yeah, it's not, suffice it to say, not very artist friendly. And what's really great about what you're doing, Dean, in all of this, and you've been doing it for a really, really long time. And actually, so Adrian and Shane in the chat, we'll get to your question. It's a really good one, but I want to jump down this thread a little bit more. So Dean, you guys have been testing you've had this thesis a long time ago that artists and fans need a deeper, almost two-way connection and interactive experience, right? And I mean, years and years before Web3 was even a thing. So based on that thesis, like what are some of the things that you guys have learned from your research in, like, what do fans really want that they haven't gotten yet?
Great question.
The super fan, as we call them, ours are called the Horde, want everything. They want to be the first to know. They want to be the first to engage. They want to be the first to buy. They want to be the first to come. They want to be the first to engage. They want to feel like, the community word gets overly used, but it's not a bad word, right? They want to feel like they're part of family. And connection. And we want them to feel like they're really special and important to us. Someone brought it up yesterday, and you guys will understand this because, you're a little bit older like I am. And, people forget that fan clubs are not a new thing. I remember in the UK, I had a fanzine magazine, a Junior Boys Own back in the day in the UK, had an incredible fanzine magazine that you would subscribe to, and every month it would turn up in the post and you'd have a sticker in there and you'd be the first person to get it and read it and talk to your mates about what's in there. And, let's go to this show and let's buy some tickets. And it's just the iteration of technology versions of that fan club model, right? That's really what we're talking about here. And what does that mean in the flywheel? What are you doing on a two-way? The big thing for me is we want to be able to give things to our fans. How do you do that currently? How can you give something to somebody on the internet in the current models?
Give it like direct from one person directly to another instead of just posting it for everybody, right?
Are you talking about physical things or experiential memories or both?
I've got a track. It's not coming out. The top 500 fans, I'll be able to get it, come in here, and I'm going to be able to give it to you. And then Discord is probably the only place that we can do that right now without scattergun approach, right? Or I've got to go, if I want to promote it and I want to market it, and then Instagram and Facebook and Twitter are your biggest megaphones, I have to pay Zuckerberg or Musk in this crazy fucking fugazi model of this sliding bar that goes across the screen. And as it goes across the screen, the money goes up and the numbers go up. But you never know who is actually going to. You don't get a report of who opened it and who engaged. You just go, okay, for $500 a week, it says this message is going to go to around 200 to 250,000 people in your network. Yeah, but I've got 2.8 million fans. It says on Joel's Instagram. How do I get to 2.8 million fans? The slider doesn't even go that far. I'd be broke if I wanted to get a message. Even then, I can't guarantee. I can't know if that actually hit them. I never get a report to say this person actually got this and this person actually opened it.
Well, if their eyes glance at it for a second, it counts, doesn't it, as well, I think.
And now Spotify, and we all knew it was coming, are now doing the same model, right? There's two models that they're doing. They're doing the discovery model, right? Which they're not charging you for it, but they'll pay you half the stream rate, right? All the majors have banned it. So our distributor, which was independent, because we're fiercely independent, was AWOL, and Sony bought AWOL. Now I can't use discovery mode on Spotify because Sony have banned it. But you're an independent distributor. Yeah, we're not anymore. Okay, well, I want to leave. No, you can't leave. We have a contract with you. Yeah, I signed the contract as an independent distributor. Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
as I just said, yeah, it's just wow.
It's a big wow.
And then the other side of the coin now, they're doing the marquee thing, right? Which is now you pay real money. And then they say, okay, you can, the platinum package is this, and it will get to 2 million people will like EDM. Okay, all right, because we know they're a data company because they had at one point had more engineers than Apple. And so we try it out and it works frighteningly well. But it's a fucking lot of money. And, you know, and then by the time you look at your streams, which you still don't know what you got paid for, and then even then you get paid 3 to 6 months later, but you've been charged for this marquee. And then you're like, oh, you know, but again, now I can only do that if I've got real money. And so the label's got to have real money, or whoever you're signed to's got to have real money. And now it's a cost to the project to get to fans that are going to get market to, because they've got the data to push to those people. So again, you know, we're in the same financial washing machine at tech, you know, so I don't have the perfect answer. All I'm saying is, and it's a very important point to me, is I'm not trying to change the music business. Hell no. That dinosaur is going to run for many, many more years, right? They will have to change with technology use, as in on-chain accounting. You know, we were getting paid twice a year. Certain companies still do pay twice a year. A lot of them are now quarterly. Some of them are now monthly. So there is, the dinosaur is starting to shift a little bit, right? But there's no reason why, and we all know this better than anybody, and anybody that's watching this. If you can see your bank account in real time, and you can transfer money and then do anything else in real time, why can't I see streams in real time, and why can't I see finance in real time? Why? Why do people need? Why is that hidden?
It's a great question, and one that has been asked a lot and has not been answered, right?
Well, Web3 promises so okay, so Amped, can we call it? We can't call it. We won't call it the Discord killer. We'll call it like an alternative. Will I be able to log in with MetaMask? Is it built? Is it going to be?
I want to be very clear, and I think we're all aligned. Whatever the buzzword is that we want to use, right? And my wife and business partner, who, you know, is very good at pulling me back down to earth when I'm up here in tech bubble land, right? And she says, stop using the buzzwords and just use different words that people use every day and see what happens. Oh my God, like we did presentations to the staff, and instantly it changed from one meeting to the next. They absolutely got it. We're really engaged. When we used all the technical jargon, it was like you could hear a pin drop, and no one wanted to sound stupid, so they didn't say a single word. And she goes, well, but Web3 is just the evolution of the internet and technology, right? And I go, yeah, so don't use the word. Computing power, you know, chip power, internet speed. This is what Web3 is, right? It's not this thing that's being built. It's the everything of the internet. And computing power and speed. So I think that's really what I'm excited about, the fundamental layer of the technology and what we can vertically build up from there. It's not trying to change the dinosaur's mind. It's, you know, look, we can keep banging away, and we will keep chipping away for change in the right way, for transparency and real-time accounting, so it can help people run their businesses and their lives better and get paid better. I will go to my grave banging on about, you know, we should be getting paid per stream. So we absolutely know what streams is. No one can answer me. I don't know if anybody's been on Spotify for artists. All right, you go in the back end, right? And first week, it's this really exciting real-time ticker. Right, it's like per stream, and you're looking at it, and it's like a fucking amazing counter, and you're like, oh, it's like a drug, right? You're in there, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing, and you get to the end of week one, and let's just say it's done 2 million streams week one, right? So it's on fire.
Yeah.
And then you go in there the next day, the ticker stops, and it drops down by 500,000, if not more. And not to this day can anybody tell me why it never goes up; it only goes down. And why does it go down? And they go, oh, it's a readjustment of streams. I'm sorry, what?
What does that even mean? A readjustment of the streams? Yeah.
What does that mean? You can readjust streams at any time?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, I think so. My head's going like a bunch of different ways. So we've talked about like the technology that powers, let's call it the relationship engine. Let's call it the commerce engine, right? Maybe that's a good way to think about it. And then another piece of this technology is the content engine, right? There's technology that's coming out that allows us to create different kind of digital experiences. So I want to pull up a question, a thought from Shane on the chat talking about, and I love the metaverse in quotations, because that allows us to kind of give it some really good context. We could even call it digital experiences, right? So yeah. What are you guys seeing, and what's your plan to incorporate new digital experiences with technology like this?
I mean, Joel sums it up beautifully. And you know, when the metaverse was the buzz of the buzz, right? And he goes, dude, does everyone not remember Sims and Second Life? I mean, come on, the metaverse has been here for fucking years and years and years, and whatever you want to call it, gaming is because Joel's a huge gamer, right? So he's like, you know, it's been there in gaming, you know, and now we're just building versions of that now with the technology in real time in game engines, whether it's Unreal or any of the other engines that are allowing people to be able to build in real time, you know, and that's I think what's exciting is, okay, actually people can now build in game engines. You know, we did a thing with Manticore with a video for When the Summer Dies. And, you know, I remember Inda from Pixel Link said, have you seen this? And I was like, no. And I sent it to Joel again. And he was like, wait, what? They're building in real time with UGC in Epic Unreal. And he's like, well, we got to see this, because Joel's a big Unreal guy. He's been building in Unreal forever. He's good friends with Kim and Mark Rain over there. And so we go and do it. And it's like, oh, wow. I mean, if anyone gets a chance, just, you know, jump on YouTube and check out the When the Summer Dies video. That was UGC fan-made content stitched together at the end to make a music video with a narrative, follow this narrative, flying through space. And I'm just like, fuck, this is incredible. And now you can see, okay, it's not companies building metaverses now. People can build in the metaverse. It's like, really, it was like Joel says, if you go back to Minecraft was really the Minecraft metaverse, right? You go into different worlds and you're building blocks, right? It's Lego metaverse. That was iteration. And then Roblox is another iteration of a metaverse, and metaverses, okay, is again world building in game engines or form of game engines. So that's how I look at it. You know, I think the what we had in the lockdown was, and including me, right? Everybody just was sat at where we are today, right? And all you had to do all day was look at a computer screen and look at and do research or see things and talk to people that you may not have had time to do when the world was open, right? Because you had everything else to do and you could leave your house. And then for us, we just got like, we went down many, many rabbit holes and talked to many, many great people. And then you're like, okay, I can see this opportunity, that opportunity, or maybe this is going to work, and then they exploded everywhere, and Ready Player Me with your own avatars.
Yeah.
And you could see, and then we come out of the lockdown and everybody goes back to normal life, and the heat, understandably drops right off. Market conditions change. All kinds of shit happens with crypto and NFT, and it becomes form of a dirty. Lots of it became dirty words, and especially in the music business, entertainment industry, it got really ugly, and some bad people doing bad things, and we backed off in the right way to tell everybody that we look at it in a different way. We want to bring the fans into these worlds. We want to be able to do things in these worlds with our fans, even if this are avatars. And we've done that many times now on many different platforms. Joel's done many in real time. I mean, this is how, he, at one point in the lockdown, he had Epic Unreal Engine running inside of Twitch. He had a suit on, and he had a split screen of him actually in real life with the screen on, with him, even his avatar, with ultra low latency. And there's the real person, and there's the avatar in this crazy environment DJing. And he had the chat running in real time on a screen that he was playing on in Unreal. And now you're like, wow, these things weren't possible 2 years ago. The technology and the code just wasn't even there.
And the network capability, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Speed and everything else, 4K, ultra low latency, all of these things that, here we go, back to technology and what it's going to allow us to do. So I think that first things first, everything that we're building and we're doing, going back to your point, Mark, is that everything Web3 is there. It's not obviously there. Even with Pixel Links, our other digital companies that's transitioned into an AI music platform, everything is there if you want to do that. But predominantly, if you go on there, it's Web 2. It's not scary. You don't have to have a wallet. And even if some of the other things that we're launching with Emanate and Motor and Dropped, is even if you are Web 2, you're not in any way Web 3, or it scares you, is even if you go in there, it's happening behind the scene, right? So you go in there, you log in there, you set your account up, there's already a wallet address already baked in behind it. You just don't need to use it, and you don't have to know about it, but it allows you to have it then on chain. So, that is something that we've all had to do in the last 6 months to a year. We've had to put it behind the screen, and then forward facing, it's got to be, okay, this doesn't look scary. I don't have to put a wallet. I don't have to write my fucking seed phrase down and put it in my shoebox under the bed and bury it somewhere, and all of these crazy shit that you have to do.
How did you know where my seed phrase was?
So the answering your question, Mark, is it's there. Nearly all the stuff is hidden now.
I think it's very telling when even your staff were kind of silent, and then as soon as you explained it in a way that they understand, people need to understand, I know. And yes, some people will like the strange, bizarre, I need to bury my seed phrase in the garden, but most people don't want that. So it's very telling.
And I said, and again, we use real world analogy, right? If I'd have said 4 years ago, all your bank cards, your credit cards will be on this thing, and you'll walk up to a machine on a till and you'll go boop, and it'll take it immediately in real time, you'd have gone, you've been watching too much Minority Report and you're mental. That's never going to happen, and no one's going to trust it, right? But that's the key word. Why do you have an Amex? Because if there's something fraudulent that happens on Amex, they give you the money back, or they ring you and text you and say, this is a large purchase. Is this you in Singapore? And you go, no. And boom, they deal with it. Until we get trusted fully trusted in everything that's going on in Web3. And boy, have we got a lot of work to do over there now with all the fucking idiots that have fucked that up. You know, until we can have trust layers in there, and even fucking idiot Gensler putting some rules in place, I don't see anything changing anytime soon, sadly.
What are we, so we, you know, we're kind of checking the boxes, right? We talked about commerce engine, relationship engine, content engine. Is the idea for all of this stuff eventually, like Joel's world, the Deadmau5 world for the fans and all of that, is that idea that the jump off point for all of those interactions, whether physical, digital, whatever, is going to be on Amped? Is that the idea, to make the artist the platform in a way?
I think it will. I think people of Deadmau5's mindset will eventually end up there. And, you know, and I'm not telling anybody that you should come off Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, Apple. I'm not, again, like, it's not, I'm not trying to change the music business, and we're not trying to fight this. This is how we start. Super fan, super over delivery, over connection with the fans that really want that, right? And we all know the chasm between, you know, the mass adoption and the early adopter chasm is always vast. So, but once it becomes easy to use and word of mouth and trust again, this is, oh, where did you get that from? Oh, you have to be a member in here, and this is what it does. And I get into the show early, and this is my badge, and I walk up to the thing, and boop, I'm in, and I get a meet and greet, and I get a bit of signed merch, and I can get my tickets early, and I get a free record every month, and I get, wait, how do I get that?
Yeah, I'm sold. That sounds fucking awesome. That's what I wanted when I was a teenager. It's what I want now.
Exactly. And I'm the same, you know, whether it's in the music business or anything else that I'm passionate about, I want to be, you know, we're all very similar. Once you go down and you're a fan in something, it's like, how deep can I go, and what can I use, and how can I connect with like-minded people that have got the same passion that I've got.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I just looked up at the clock, and we could
go for hours.
I know. And I'm sure the folks listening would love to hear more too. I have
another part 2. We need another part 2.
I'm down for that, guys. Whatever you want to.
We should. I do have one question, Mark. Do you have any questions you want to get out there before we wrap?
No, it's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of questions I need to think about. I really thank Dean for his East London humor and attitude to this, and yeah, thanks for sparking my interest back in house music. I've got a lot to go and listen to, so
awesome.
One question for you, Dean, related to, you know, artists out there, independent artists that are looking at this going, man, I see this as a great opportunity, but I also see this as a potentially heavy lift, because they may not have Joel's prowess from a technological perspective. Are you seeing a possible trend of artist teams now involving a technologist of sorts to make some of this stuff happen?
So what we're seeing from our, let's call it our, you know, there's A level acts, B level acts, C level acts, right? The ones that are very tech understanding and want to use it, they can't work quick enough. They, you know, like one of our acts called GTA, Good Times Ahead, are going to be the launch on Amped probably next week. You know, all of the really good young acts all know what it takes to get success, right? Content is king. Music, you know, being connectivity with your fans, online personality, whether it's in written form or visual form, streaming. All of the kids now all know what it takes to get traction in the business. Yes, we're in the music business, as I say to my staff and everybody else. Fundamentally, we're still in the music business. You know, a big record will make you a star, but those are hard to find. But you can have a great career if you can do all of these things and create a fan base that people that are excited about. So going back to your point is, we have to provide tools that are really, really easy to use, really easy to upload a video, really easy to hit one button stream, really easy to put pictures up there, or put stems up there, or put WAVs in there. Just simply drag and drop, right? And then type it in, send. If you can make that, and that's what we're trying to do with Amped and everything else, Pixel Links with AI, with the AI music engine and everything else, is how easy can we make it? Can my 11-year-old and 14-year-old, I say, yeah, open that and then go through the steps. Okay, yeah, I'm in, I'm done, I've made a record, I'm in there, I've set an account, what do I do now? Okay, great. So that was easy. Yeah. No, I'm used to doing that. That looks like everything else that I'm asked to do on the internet. Okay, great. As long as the fan can do that, and then the artist even easier can do it, because that's the problem right now, is we're asked to do so many things, right? Twitter, you got to do this on Twitter, you got to do this on Facebook, you got to do this on Instagram, and you got to do this on TikTok. And you go, you're right, Jeremy. Shit, I need a team to do this.
Yeah.
There's tons of companies that have spun up now who are all offering, but it costs money, right? And junior, smaller acts, it's hard. And there are people out there now offering funding at distributors and other management companies and different things. Are, you know, when you believe, oh, this is really good. Okay, we'll fund this. We'll help you do this. You can use these services. So I think, you know, I think the technology is getting better and easier to use, which will help fans and artists to be able to move quicker.
Amazing. Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head, is accessibility to the technology for the creators, the fan base, partners, all in between. And that's where we're seeing a lot of things happen as well. Well, Dean, thank you so much for getting up early today and jumping in with us. It's always so great to chat with you on these topics and subjects. You know, Mark does a great write-up at the end of this. If you have anything that you want to send on, you know, Amped and all of that kind of stuff, we'll push it out to all of our folks. Everyone in the chat,
a lot of names and a lot of links for this one, so there should be a good list of resources.
Absolutely. And all of our familiar names in the chat, guys. Thanks for checking us out. Oh, we got Ender in the chat. Dean is the OG. Great to see you.
Just as we were talking about him.
Beautiful. Amazing. And thanks again for joining. As far as the shows go, those out listening, you can find us at thinkingonpaper.xyz. All of these shows will be on our YouTube channel, Spotify, and who knows, maybe we'll get on Amped at one of these times and start pushing stuff out that way. But anyway, last quick shout out to our great friends at Ripple with a www.ripple.com. Marketing's on-demand talent platform. If you need to flex and get some marketing superpowers, jump in there. If you like what you hear from Mark and I, you can engage with us there as well. But thanks so much for joining. Mark, anything else before we roll?
Bi-directional value exchange simplified, trademark.
I love it. Amazing.
We should reconnect after ADE, which is the big Amsterdam dance event, which all of the partners will be at, and there's some big news coming out of that. So if we should do another one maybe at the end of October. It'd be a lot more to talk about then. A lot more things will be launched. I'd love to do one with Inda or Jerry or all of the other tech partners. That would be great for you guys.
That's a deal. Let's do it.
All right. Thanks so much again, Dean. Take it easy. Curious minds and disruptors. We'll see you next week.
Bye.